A very cheerful morning to all my dear learners. I welcome you all to online learning platform of Sri Basava Public School. Children, today in this video we are going to begin a new chapter from your textbook, that is An Alien Hand, and it is a supplement reader. We have already completed two chapters from this textbook, so now we are going to straight to jump on the third chapter, that is the desert. Yes, third chapter from your supplementary reader, the desert. Today we are going to do this chapter in this video. So I hope you are going to listen it very carefully. Children, before going to start this chapter, let me ask you one question, that is, what do you know about the desert? What do we know about the desert? When we heard this word desert, one thing comes in front of our eyes, that is sand. Yes, unending lengthy sands where no water found. This is the imagination. This picturization comes in front of our eyes. But children, do you know that it is not true? It is not entirely correct. It is a false belief which we know about desert. So this chapter is going to explain, is going to reveal the interesting facts of desert. So let's start the reading. A desert is generally without water and vegetation. A green patch with fresh water and green trees in the middle of a vast desert is a beautiful sight. A desert may be too hot or too cold. Those of us who live in regions covered with forest and surrounded by hills may find it difficult to imagine what a desert is really like. The popular belief is that it is an endless stretch of sand where no rain falls and therefore no vegetation grows. It is dry, hot, waterless, and without shelter. But this is not entirely correct. For those who have studied it, the desert can be a beautiful place. It is the home of a variety of people, animals, and plants that have learned to live under very hot and dry conditions. Children, the people like us who are surrounded by lots of facilities, hills, mountains, valleys, forest, etc. For them, it is very difficult to imagine the life of desert. But the people who are living there, they have already adjusted with that condition and atmosphere. And we believe that the desert lands are endless with sand, no vegetation grows there, and no rain falls, and nobody lives there. But it is not a correct thought perception which we have about desert. So it is a false belief of us. But the fact what about the desert is, who knows better that who studied about it. Actually, the desert is a beautiful place where varieties of people, plants, animals lives. And one more thing, they are surviving. They learned to live. The varieties of people, animals, plants, they learn to live to survive under hot and dry conditions. But for us who are having lots of facility, for us it is not possible to imagine, and it is difficult to imagine the life of desert people. True, the ground is not always hidden by a cover of a grass, plants, and trees as it is in other climates. But whenever it rains, which is rare, desert flowers bloom and the sight can be as rewarding as that of any tropical garden. Children, yes, we agree that deserts are not always covered with the grass, green grass, like us, like our surrounded area. But whenever climate changes there, whenever rain falls, that time the flowers of desert will also be bloomed with beautiful wave, and it looks very beautiful. You just imagine, children, a plant filled with the flowers blooming in the land of desert. How it looks? It looks very beautiful. And That site can be imagined, that site can be related to the word of tropical garden, beautiful garden. A desert is not always a flat unchanging wasteland of dry sand. It may have mountains and hills. It may have an oasis, big or small. An oasis is like a green island in the middle of a desert where a spring or a well gives plants and trees a better chance to grow. Children, let me show you some pictures. When we think about desert, we think like this. This picturization comes in front of our eyes. Endless stretch, endless land of sand. But it is not true. Desert lands are having beautiful places like oasis. What is oasis? Let's look at here. It is a place surrounded by sand. In the middle of sand, there will be a small water place, pond, we can consider it as a pond, and surrounded of that pond there are many trees grows, and animals, people comes there to drink water, animals comes there to drink water, to eat plants, and to get the shed. It is called as an oasis. It is called an oasis. Let's see, just enjoy the beauty of oasis, how it looks. You just imagine, not only imagination, pictures are in front of your eyes. In the middle of sand, a beautiful pond with filled with the trees, green trees, and pure water. How it looks? Yes, it looks very beautiful. So there they can find the place to grow the vegetation. There people comes to enjoy the beauty. Many of the people stay there by building their sheds, and animals comes there to drink water and to eat the food. Now, a desert may be hot like the Thar or cold like the Ladakh. But generally speaking, if a place has little or no water and vegetation, people usually call it a desert. Yes, in desert there are two different kinds of deserts. What are those? First one is cold and hot. Hot desert is Thar desert, and cold desert, for example, cold desert is Ladakh. But what people believe about the desert, if there is no water, if there is no vegetation, then we think that it is a desert. But it is not true. Some deserts are almost totally without water. In such places, strong winds blow, rising heaps of sand and depositing them as mounds. These are called sand dunes that shift and move endlessly across the desert. Few plants can survive on such dry shifting sands. But there is one more interesting fact of desert is there are some deserts which doesn't have water at all. There sand flew, wind blows. The wind blows, rising their hips by taking the sand, and it deposit the sand some places, and that depositing the sand will changes into the sand dunes. And this shift in this kind of areas also we can find some plants. Children, as you can see here, desert plants and animals learn to what is this? Yeah, wait. Learn to require much less water than most plants and animals. The camel is a typical desert animal. Smaller desert animals have unusual means of satisfying their need for water. All living things need water in order to survive. The few plants and animals that live in deserts have developed the ability to require less water than most plants and animals. The camel, popularly known as the sheep of the desert, can drink a lot of water at one time. Camel can do without water for days together. Children, here one thing we know that without water it is not at all possible to survive. Then how the animals of the deserts where rarely rainfalls survive there? So animals of the deserts live in the desert area, and they develop their ability of recovering or restoring or storing of the water or food for long time. They have the ability of, and they learned how to survive in the scarcity of the food and scarcity of the water. Especially animal. Which animal? Camel. When the desert word comes in front of our in our mind, then which animal comes first? Yes, that is camel. Camel, how it is surviving there without water? It is a huge animal which needs in huge quantity food or water. So how it is possible to survive the camel in the desert? Yes, at once when camel get the water, that time it has ability to drink a lot of water and to store in its hump, which it is going to use when there is a lack of water. That time the hump gives it the energy of staying without water. And this camel is called as the ship of the desert. Yes. The reason is they sweat very little. We sweat because we must keep our body temperature constant. We sweat when it gets hot and this cools the body. Camels can stand high body temperature. They don't need to sweat and can therefore retain the water they drink for long periods of time. The scientific reason of camel surviving without water and storing the water. See here, children, we human beings can't tolerate the temperature of heat in that kind of particular zone. So we drink lot of water. That water comes out in the form of sweat, and which gives the cold to which gives the cool temperature to our body, which keeps our body to be cool. The sweat is helping us to keep our temperature in the normal zone. But these camels body and the skin of the camels, it is too strong and too thick, which doesn't require sweat and which doesn't requires the cool temperature, and it can tolerate the temperature of the heat in that zone, so it doesn't sweat. It is for that reason it can retain the it can survive in that kind of zone, in that kind of time when there is a lack of water. Because of the sweating, because the camels doesn't sweat, so they can survive without water and they can store the water in their humps. The smaller deserts The smaller desert animals do not drink water. They burrow underground during the hot day and come out at night to eat. Some of them eat other animals and get the water they need from the moisture in the meat. Others eat plants and seeds and get the water they need from plant juices. Children, now till now we studied about the camel, how it is surviving. Now let's discover the fact about the smaller animals, small desert areas animals, how they are surviving there. See children, in the daytime as usual the temperature was too much, so they will burrow themselves underground. They don't come out. They don't come out to drink or to eat anything. When the day completes, when the sun set, when the moon rises, that time in the night time they comes out and they find the food for themselves, and they don't drink the water, children. And some other animals eat other animals, some different kind of animals, and they get the moisture from that meat, and they are eating some plants also from where they can get the juice of the plants easily. In that way, by eating the meat of other animals and by eating the seeds of the plant or the leaf of the plants, they are getting the moistureness from these two ways, not direct drinking the water. Desert plants also adapt themselves to the life they lead. Cactus plants store water in their thick stems. Their roots lie close to the surface of the ground and quickly absorb the moisture from the light rains that occasionally fall. The major feature of all desert is, of course, dryness and variations of temperature. Children, instead of listening my explanation, let's do let's understand this way of observing the water in the thick stems of cactus, how it absorb the water in it. Let's understand this scientific way through a video. Let's listen the word very carefully.
Topic: Transpiration. Why do cacti have spines?
Maybe they want to look like porcupines.
Hahaha, very funny. Spines help cacti to reduce transpiration.
Well, I know all about vibration, but what's with this new thing called transpiration?
Transpiration is the loss of water from aerial parts, like stems and leaves, in the form of water vapor. These aerial parts contain stomata which allow water vapor to escape into the atmosphere.
So, shall we tape the aerial parts so that the vapor won't escape?
Oh, pay attention. In deserts, where cactus usually grows, there is scarcity of water. Also, due to high temperatures, the rate of transpiration is very high. Thus, the leaves of a cactus have modified into spines. Spines don't have stomata. Thus, the rate of transpiration is reduced, helping the cactus to save water.
Yes, children, I hope you understand it in a better way. Now, in humid climates, the moisture in the air acts like a blanket and protects the Earth's surface from the hot rays of the sun. Children, in the climates of humid, the moisture in the air moisture, what moisture the air carries, it works, it protects the Earth's surface as a blanket. How blanket protect us in the cool climate or hot climate, not hot climate, in cool climate. In the same manner, here also, moisture of air protects here earth surface. How? When wind blows with the sand, that time the wind restrict the rays of the sun to reach directly to the earth surface. In this way, it protects the earth from the heat of the sun or sun rays of the sun, rays of this sun. Here, the absence of this blanket in desert lands causes the desert to heat up rapidly during the day and to cool off rapidly at night. Children, when the moisture of the air will be absent, that time the climate of desert lands changes in a drastic way. It produces the heat very fastly, very rapidly. The climate, the surface of the earth will changes into high level rapidly. It takes the face of too hot, and in this will happen in the daytime, and again it rapidly takes the face of cool at the time of night. Now, deserts are an important part of nature's great plan. They are there like the dense forests and the deep oceans. Just because they are hot and dry, one should not look upon them as useless parts of the earth. Children, before ending this chapter, let me tell you that deserts lands are not useless. They are the beautiful creation of God. God has planned the world in a proper manner, and it is also one of the beautiful spot or a land of the nature which gives the pleasant feeling to the eyes. Many of the tourists are visiting to enjoy the beauty of desert, and it is a well planned by the God. And it is also one of the part how we appreciate the beauty of oceans and the forest and the mountains and the hills. In the same way, we have to appreciate the beauty of desert lands, and only because of the reason if they are hot and dry, we should not look upon them as useless parts of the world, our earth. Children, I hope you understand this chapter. And what do we learn from this lesson? Let's recall once. We learned the interesting facts of the desert land, and we learned that this is the false belief of the desert, that it is a endless stretch of sand, no vegetation grows, no rain falls, and no people lives there. It is a false belief. And there are different kinds of deserts like Thar and Ladakh, cold and hot. And we can find a beautiful place in the desert land that is called Oasis. And also how people of desert, animals of desert, and plants of deserts survive in that condition. These facts we learned through this lesson. Thanks for watching this video. Once again, I'm repeating here that if you not understand any of the para or any line, you just feel free to call or to message me. I'll reply it very soon. Goodbye, children. Take care.